Hello Frugal fans, once again this is Captain Frugal, formerly the Frugal Gamer, and today I'm going to review the PlayStation Vita TV. First, let me start. This is the package. It's very simple, and I'm going to show you what's in it. It gives a little bit of information about the product, so make sure you check it out to see if it's for you and has the fittings that you need for it. As I'm going to show over here very briefly, it gives a spec information and breakdown of what's in it. So careful, if you buy this version, remember, you're going to need to get a controller to play it. So you could buy an additional PlayStation 3 controller, so consider that when you're price looking. You may also want to get some additional memory because it does not come with much built in. As you see here, when I open the package, I'm going to pull out, there's really not a whole lot in this box. You get some, you get some information cards here. Here we go. So this helps you to get a little info on what you can do. Now also too, this is a wireless unit. It can pick up wirelessly, or you can actually hardwire it. I would recommend hardwiring it for the better performance. Now here I'm going to pull it open. You're going to find for this box, it really isn't a whole lot of thing here. Pretty much all this is a hardware component of the Vita without the screen and the buttons and the controller here. So as you see here, you have an HDMI output to put it to a new TV. So you need HDMI. You have the USB to plug in a controller. That way you can pair it with the unit. You have the input for your internet connectivity and a little power button, and as well as a little jack there to plug in the power. Now this does have the nice little power component that you plug in. It doesn't have a big wall wart. It has one of those that you connect to it to keep that away. Now as you see here, this is the screen and the navigation. It's just like the PlayStation Vita system as well. So if you have a Vita, you'll be very familiar with it. It is pretty easy to navigate through here, and it has all these features. So let's look at this. Let's look at some of the pros and cons and things of this. First of all, it's very simple to use. This system is good for playing mini games as well. It allows you to have online access through it as well as to the PlayStation Store I'm showing here. I find it quite nice to be able to play some Vita games on the big screen on occasion, so this is very good for that. One of the cool things though is if you have a PlayStation 4, you can play your PlayStation 4 games remotely. So that's very helpful. You can even play some PlayStation 3 games remotely, but not all of them work with it. As you see here, the graphics are pretty solid. I'm going to show a little bit of The Walking Dead with it in a bit to show you that. Now notice if you're going to go and put things where you have to type in, it gives you a keyboard where you can do that. So for example, I'm going to look up something online. You can put that in. This system, one of the things that's not sold about it enough is it does actually have a very large game library. Granted, you can't go out and buy a lot of PlayStation Vita hard copy games. There's a little bit of a lack in that area. But to the PlayStation Store, there's quite a variety. Here's one of the cons that really aggravates me with this system. Look at this. No Netflix. They put it in there, but it's not supported. What on earth? If you're going to release a product, make sure you put the things in it that are going to be usable. Okay, so it shares your friends list. It gives you a lot of connectivity with your PlayStation 4 as well as PlayStation 3. But unfortunately, this system is not all roses. Now, once again, here's the PlayStation Store, which leads me to some issue I have here. So let me get into the cons. I said there was a lot of games, but unfortunately, some of these digital downloads can be quite expensive. And sometimes you can get a physical copy of the game for less. So, especially if you're looking for them used. So you do have a lot of games available. Some that are just digital, some are mini games. You can watch videos, you can watch movies through this thing too, which is really cool. You can rent games, rent movies. I'm not a big fan of the rental system. It's just too expensive through PlayStation. Now another issue with this though, especially if you're renting movies, is that it does not support digital surround sound. Also, the navigation, even though I just said it's just like the Vita, for the Vita, it's great. It's touchscreen. But when you're using a controller, it could be better. The system, one of the biggest drawbacks I find, it uses proprietary memory, just like the original PlayStation Vita. And the problem with that is the amount of memory is very expensive. I wish it would have went with where you can just go with any kind of SD card. But instead, they did this, which makes it a very expensive alternative for memory. As I said too, what the heck? Why do you put apps in there and not have it be prepared for like Netflix too? That still gripes me. But probably the absolute biggest con of this is it does not play all Vita games. So why would you create a device, Vita TV, that doesn't play all Vita games? It does make me scratch my head. So if you're looking into this with the intent of playing Vita games, make sure you go to the PlayStation and get their official list of games that's compatible, so that way you don't waste your money. Now, looking at this, I'm going to show in just a second from here, I'm going to go to The Walking Dead. Even though you can play some games, it's still going to be functionally a little different. For example, you won't have the touchscreen of the Vita version. You'll actually have to hit the L3 button and it pulls up a little finger, which then you can use that to tap the items and make the choices you want. So looking this system over, I'm not going to, let me give it what I feel is my opinion of a fair rating based on all these things. Oh, here's another thing too. Look, this game has a lot of load time. It's not going to speed up your load time on Vita games either. So here's the finger, for example, I have. I'm actually going to be doing a review for The Walking Dead PlayStation Vita very soon as well, so also keep an eye out for that. Alright, so overall, the PlayStation Vita, if you think about it, seems like a great concept. But the problem is that every time I get into it and mess around with it, I feel it's a concept that was never fully completed. The system has so much promise, but it feels like it's now been abandoned, and I think it has been. I think Sony's at the point now where they've actually abandoned the system, and henceforth, one of the reasons I have it. You can find this system new if you're careful for $40 or under. I got mine for $39.95. If you look around used, sometimes you can find it for around $25 and under. I mean, that doesn't show a lot of confidence for an early release of a system that hasn't been out very long. So it's screaming this thing is just not going to make it. It's not going to be supported heavily. I hope I'm wrong, but I tend to think that's the case. So it feels like it's been abandoned. Now, you may want this Vita TV if you do not want a full console in your house. Maybe you don't, not a big gamer, you just want to be able to play occasional mini games or something once in a while. This might be good for you. Now, if you already have a Vita, you may find this to be a waste of money unless you can get it really cheap. Now, one of the things that they don't see many people mention, though, if you want to share Vita gameplay, this device could be immensely helpful. For example, I do Vita game reviews, and usually I have a digital video camera set up on the Vita, which is very hard to do. This will allow the games that are compatible, like The Walking Dead Season 1 here, to be able to be played and show the screen footage while I'm doing the review. Now, I feel for me, for under $50, this may be worth it. But to be honest, I would not recommend this product to a wide audience. It just doesn't have enough functionality and compatibility with it, as well as support. If it played all the games for Vita, I'd be sure. It'd be great. But it doesn't. It doesn't have all the apps that work. It doesn't play all the things like Netflix and things like it should. It just seems like potential, but continues to miss. So, yes, it's a good little device if you don't already have one, or if you like it for just little knick-knack things and you want to check something out. Otherwise, I have to say I cannot with good confidence recommend this product to a wide audience.